Welcome to 2025. It's a brand new year, which means brand new movies to look forward to. And as per the internet rulebook, we have to rank them. So my name is Ren, and this is my top 10 most anticipated films of 2025. Welcome back, film family. Thank you for joining me for my first video of 2025. Happy New Year. I hope you had an incredible and safe passage into 2025, and I hope you're excited for all the movies the new year has to bring us. Naturally, I could only fit 10 movies into my top 10, but I'm excited for plenty more, so I do have quite a few honorable mentions. But before I get to those, I want to know your most anticipated movies of the year. Give me as many as you are looking forward to. Obviously, this is not a definitive list. This is my list. These are the movies that I think I'm going to love the most. And it's going to be fun by the end of the year to look back and see which movies we got right, which movies we got wrong. So without any further ado, let's go into my honorable mentions in no particular order. Saw is my horror franchise, so I am more than excited for Saw 11. Saw 10 was arguably the best since the original, and I am at this point waiting one extra year than I originally thought, and they're bringing back one of my favorite characters for this continuation. Downton Abbey became a comfort show for me when I started watching it on a whim to prepare for the first film they were releasing. Now we're heading into the climax of the trilogy, so just keep churning them out, because I will keep watching them. The Accountant is a severely underrated thriller from 2016 that naturally lends itself to becoming a franchise. The entire cast is coming back for the sequel. It was originally going to be a streamer, and it has been promoted to a theatrical release. I cannot wait to finally see what The Accountant 2 has to offer. The Smashing Machine is what The Rock hopes to be his entry into awards season conversations. It's a sports biopic produced by A24, who just did The Iron Claw. It's all I could ask for. Final Destination Bloodlines is the long-awaited sequel to what I would consider my second favorite horror franchise that I grew up with. This is just a franchise that lends itself to be an anthology, and I've enjoyed every single film in the franchise so far, and I've been waiting for more ever since Final Destination 5 was by far the best of the franchise. Novocaine is something I literally did not know existed until that awesome trailer released, and it just feels like it's capturing that crank energy with someone in Jack Way that just isn't our typical action star, so it feels like he'll deliver a ton of the gory and hilarious mix that I love. Mortal Kombat 2 is also releasing this year. I was quite a big fan of the 2021 Mortal Kombat, and just by having it on this list, I feel like I'm already giving it a bigger marketing push than the studio producing this film at Warner Brothers. The Gorge just sounds like a very fun idea with a great cast and a great director I will always root for behind it. I have no other thoughts on this because I refuse to watch the trailer. I want to go into this as blind as possible. Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, is the first official John Wick spin-off as blessed by Chad Stahelski. John Wick is my favorite action franchise of all time, and John Wick does show up in this film, so one, it gives us Keanu Reeves in a movie in 2025, and it gives me another chance to see the greatest assassin in cinema. Wicked for Good is the sequel to, of course, Wicked, and it covers the second half of the stage show, which I loved. And if it's as good as Wicked turned out to be, we're in for a treat and a tearjerker by the end of 2025. Captain America Brave New World is at this point less than 2 months from release. It feels like it's capturing more of that Winter Soldier Civil War vibe. We got Sam Wilson in his first outing, proper outing at least, as Captain America. We have Harrison Ford in the MCU as Red Hulk. And I seem to be the only person who's excited for this, but hey, it's usually pretty lonely being right. The live-action How to Train Your Dragon frustrated me to no end when it was announced, as the animated trilogy is one of my favorites of all time. And then they released a trailer that looks fantastic. fantastic. It captures the magic, it captures the feel, it captures the soul of the original, and it's in good hands with the director of the original trilogy. The Running Man is the next film by one of my favorite directors in Edgar Wright, and it stars Glenn Powell, who just had an amazing year in 2024 with two movies that made it into my top 10 of the year. So I can only expect The Running Man to do the same. Zootopia 2 is a sequel that I have no idea why we haven't gotten it yet. The original Zootopia is a sensational film that won Oscars, made buckloads of money at the box office, and yet at this point, we're still waiting for the sequel that is now finally releasing in 2025. Jurassic World Rebirth has, in concept, all the elements for me to be excited for it. I love the original Jurassic Park. I'm a big fan of the original Jurassic World. And all the stills I've seen, the cast, Gareth Edwards directing, all signs point that this will be a return to form, but I cannot pretend that this franchise has not disappointed me multiple times before. And that is why it couldn't quite crack my top 10, but those are all my honorable mentions. So without any further ado, my film family, let's begin the countdown. 28 years later, made it onto this list solely on the basis of that incredible trailer they just released. And the best part about that trailer, beyond being amazing, is that I still have no idea what this film is about. I don't know who any of the characters are. I have no idea what the world from 28 days and 28 weeks has come to. But that original film was so inventive and refreshing for the zombie genre that at that point was just re-emerging. And now we live in a world where the zombie genre has grown beyond oversaturated, but that world created by Danny Boyle in 2002, one of those years, still feels so fresh and innovative, even within everything that's been done since. This trailer looks incredible, the film looks incredible, and we got yet another film already dated for 2026. So it feels like the franchise will keep on going until we reach 28 centuries later. Thunderbolts Asterisk is the first MCU entry on this list, but be warned, it will not be the last. I've had many conflicting thoughts regarding this film ever since it was originally announced with that first picture of the lineup. I wasn't really looking forward to this, and yes, to this point, it still feels like Marvel's Suicide Squad, but one full of personality that's actually trying to do something interesting with so many of these characters that they have introduced since Phase 4 began, and we're bringing back Terminator Bucky into the fold. Florence Pugh looks to be the star. They have the Sentry. They have many intriguing ideas, and the fact that there's so much secrecy behind this film, including the very title of this film, I think they're hiding something really good. Otherwise, they wouldn't have placed this on that typical Avengers big, important Marvel movie date. So it is one to keep our eyes on, and please avoid all the spoilers as much as we can. Sinners is Ryan Coogler's next film, and I feel that's all the reason I need to be excited for this film. And no, it didn't make it onto this list because it's releasing on March 7th, and that's the greatest movie release date of all time. But it's Ryan Coogler once again teaming up with Michael B. Jordan, two Michael B. Jordans, and it's a film about vampires set in what looks to be the 1900s, maybe late 1800s in America. I love me a good vampire movie. I'm still on the Nosferatu hype. I'm about to go watch it today and tomorrow twice with two different groups of friends. So keep the vampire hype coming. Keep the Ryan Coogler hype coming. Mickey 17 is Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to Parasite, and much like the previous entry on this list, I feel like that's the only reason I need to be excited for this film. This just looks wacky. It looks fun. It looks intriguing. It looks like it's going to have a dark undertone to it all that the trailers aren't quite showing us. But Bong Joon-ho loves doing weird shit. I love watching weird shit. Robert Pattinson is playing 17 versions of weird in this film alone, if not more. So I am very much looking forward to see whatever this film needs to offer, because it's been delayed for a while. They finally landed on a date. We're finally getting it this time. I certainly hope it doesn't disappoint, because it just looks so freaking good and memorable. James Gunn's Superman is launching a new cinematic universe in the DCU, and if it wasn't for that spectacular trailer a few weeks ago, it would probably only have been an honorable mention on this list. But what I'm most excited about this film is everything that the trailer showed me that I've never seen in a Superman movie before. Most people watching this video know I am a Henry Cavill Superman guy. He is my Superman, the best Superman movie of all time, the best representation of Superman on screen. This trailer looks like it captures all the qualities of Superman while giving me the romance with Lois Lane, the large, grand scale action and adventure and the joy of it, while also giving us a fantastic Lex Luthor in Nick Holt, who just had an incredible year, just had an incredible month. So honestly, as much as I love Henry Cavill and his version of Superman, this is exactly what we need. Something that captures the qualities that we love about the character while doing something entirely different, even if his mama never told him how to dress. F1 is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who brought us Top Gun Maverick, and much like some of the previous entries on this list, that's the only reason I need to be excited. But not only does the idea of translating those aerial sequences of Top Gun Maverick into Formula One sound exciting, the main reason why this film makes it on this list is because of personal growth. I do not give a shit about Formula One, cars, car racing, any of that. I never had. I've tried. It's just not something I'm interested in. But I have loved movies that are about racing and Formula One in the past, such as Ford v Ferrari and Rush. Those are some of my favorite movies of the respective years they came out, if not of all time. Rush is genuinely the best movie Ron Howard has ever made. The look and feel of this film, the man at the helm, there's genuinely no reason for me not to be excited for F1. Predator Badlands was just recently announced. Dan Trachtenberg is returning as director, and apparently this movie will have a predator as the main character. Something we've never seen before, and just keeps bringing this franchise from strength to strength. We are nearing the end of this countdown for my top 10 most anticipated films of 2025. We only got the top 3 left, so I want to know at this point any films that surprised you that were on this list, that only made it to honorable mentions, that I didn't just mention whatsoever. Anything and everything in the comments. Start the conversation. If you're enjoying this list, I did a few end of year lists in the past few days. I always do these at the beginning, at the end of each year. So if you're enjoying this, want to stick around for all the reviews for each and every one of these films and talk more movies and TV with me, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Wake Up Dead Man is the next film in the Knives Out franchise that Rian Johnson created and keeps on churning out banger after banger. I just love the idea of these eclectic casts that are so engaging as thriller mysteries. The original Knives Out was fantastic. The follow-up Glass Onion was just as good, if not better. I cannot wait for the promise of this new mystery now set in Ireland, in a castle. All of them have such unique, distinct feels and energies to all of them, to the cast. This is yet another fantastic cast that they've gathered up, and it looks like Rian Johnson is cooking. I want him to do 100 more of these, and I also want Netflix to release them in theaters. Let us see these movies on the big screen. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is our runner-up, and at this point, I've been waiting to see this film for nearly 2 years, ever since the release of The Artist, formerly known as Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Part 1 is out, but if John Wick is my favorite action franchise ever, this is a close second. It feels like we're finally getting a sense of finality to this franchise, whether it is just this version of the franchise where it's Tom Cruise and his team. Maybe Tom Cruise retires from the Mission Impossible films, even though he said he wants to make these movies till he's 80s, and supposedly Haley Atwell probably is picking up the mantle, which I'll have no complaints about whatsoever. Give me any excuse to see Haley Atwell more regularly on my screen, beyond showing up as Captain Carter in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. That's a conversation for next year's most anticipated movies. But speaking of Captain Carter and showing up in other MCU movies, the Fantastic Four finally arrive in the MCU this year. And apart from the fact that we still don't have a trailer officially released, everything about this film feels right. From the director, from the cast, the look of the trailer that I watched on Twitter because someone put it out there. It's not my fault, but it looks amazing. The fact that this is set in a different world, in a different time period, bringing to life that Fantastic Four retro futuristic aesthetic. I am ready to eat this up. From everything we know and that we've seen from this film, officially or leaked, this finally sets up and builds towards the climax crossover that is Doomsday and Secret Wars. Unlike so many people, I'm excited to see Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. I am also ready to call out if I think that portrayal is bad, because you need to build that relationship between Reed Richards and Doctor Doom. Because it's set in a different world, it doesn't really have to tie in to anything that we've seen or that we're building up directly in the MCU. I can totally see that these characters just come into the MCU once their film ends, once Galactus wins, because I feel like that's what we're about to see. Galactus is winning in this film. He is eating their planet. And if not, I only get more excited because I have no idea what this film will feel like. It's the film I have most looked into anything about it that is out there, any sort of information, and I still have no idea how we start, what we build to, where we end up. It's the most excited I have been for an MCU film in a while. I know I say that as someone who hasn't lost love for the MCU, but the bar is up there, defined by Fantastic Four in the movies and Daredevil in the TV shows. Yes, Daredevil is my most anticipated film of the year. There you go, an extra entry on this list. And those are the reasons why Fantastic Four is my number one most anticipated film of 2025. I should probably put this film at number 4 just for poetic reasons. And that, my film family, is my list of my most anticipated films of 2025. Where do our lists cross over? Where do our lists not cross over whatsoever? Let me know anything and everything down there. I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope you are looking forward to any and maybe all of these films, as well as many more, and I look forward to discussing all of these with you once they come out. Stay tuned for many reviews to come throughout January. We're trying different things this year. I hope to see you in there. Once again, Happy New Year, and until the next one, love each other and love the movies.